the XSR900 Abarth is the latest in that line. There's so much going on with the Abarth, it's hard to know where to begin. Is it with the absolutely barking mad riding position, or maybe Yamaha's unique, limited edition collaboration with a car tuning company? How about that arresting cafe racer styling and the Abarth's spectacular abundance of carbon fiber, and that stonking afterburner seat cover? Or instead, perhaps we should discuss how the special XSR900 might be a pivotal moment, when customizing previously functional machines into show ponies is legitimized by factory blessing, and how maybe that splashing sound you can hear is the sound of hipsters jumping the shark. The Abarth is an XSR900, Yamaha's retro-flavored 3-cylinder naked street bike with a carbon-based cafe racer makeover. It's a limited edition from a total never-to-be-repeated build of 695 bikes. 100 have come to the UK, and 40 are already pre-sold via an online reservation process. Although come to the UK isn't quite the case, the bike arrives as a stripped XSR900, and a dealer bolts on the various Abarth components when it's sold. All of which you'll notice are cosmetic and ergonomic changes. So the Abarth suspension, wheels, brakes, clocks, pegs, engine, and electronic rider aids are standard as per the XSR900. And that's why it's not a surprise to find the Abarth's engine does all the things the standard XSR900 motor does so well. The 847cc inline triple makes 115 brake horsepower at 10,000 revolution per minute, and combines incredible silky smoothness with a stunningly funky power delivery. It's a brilliant engine with a typically naughty power delivery geared by Yamaha to deliver mischief and illicit behavior in large quantities. It can't keep a straight face. But what is a surprise is how dramatically the Abarth's radical riding position affects the XSR steering, weight balance, and general handling dynamic. In essence, the XSR900 Abarth is the fruit of a joint marketing exercise between two companies who go back a bit together. Abarth are an Italian Fiat-owned tuning company, with a long history of tweaking the pants off small-bore motors. The connection with Yamaha is primarily MotoGP-based. Fiat have been team sponsors, and Abarth currently supply cars for the team. In 2007, Rossi raced an M1 in Abarth colors at Phillip Island, and in 2008, Abarth and Yamaha were a gnats away from producing a limited edition FZ1. A prototype was built and shown, but the production bike never materialized. The Abarth's handlebars are basically inverted cowhorns or ace bars spun round in the clamps to sit low, below the line of the tank, spreading your hands and arms wide. They aren't clip-ons, so the top rail of the handlebar swoops down from the yoke clamps, just like an authentic cafe racer. And so ironically, the Abarth is proud owner of what is surely the most radical sports riding position in modern motorcycling. Reaching forward from the Abarth seat and grabbing the grips is like leaning over a wall to pick up a sack of spuds. It makes a 2017 Fireblade feel like a sports tourer, and I know because I rode them back to back. With your bum in the air, you're suddenly aware of how short they cut bike jackets these days. You could park a bike in that crack, mate. It's classic bum up, head down, face planted squarely in front of the small LCD dial. It's so close you almost have to back away a bit to get it in focus. Slide the starter switch forward and poke the triple. The 847cc inline 3-cylinder spins up with a swoosh. It's less breathy and mechanically quieter than an equivalent Triumph engine, without the Hinckley bike's characteristic primary drive whine. The Yamaha whips up and down the tacho with a delicious free revving vigor. And boy, it's smooth, slicker than a Triumph, and they're already about as creamy as a reciprocating piston engine gets. Yamaha's codename for the motor is CP3, not half a Star Wars robot. It stands for Crossplane 3, a slightly misleading moniker that suggests its crank arrangement shares something with the R1 and MT10 Crossplane inline 4. In fact, the XSR motor, like Triumph engines, and also like Yamaha's previous triples, the X's 750 and 850 of the late 70s, runs a 120 degrees crank. The crankpin angles are equi-spaced, and it's also the same in the sense the inertial torque produced by the engine is in harmony with its combustion torque. Yamaha's theory of better throttle to rear wheel connection that helped propel Rossi and Lorenzo to so many MotoGP wins. But where the inline triple really scores over inline fours is its smoothness. A 120 degrees triple is in perfect balance. That means as one piston moves in one direction, its primary vibration is cancelled by the movement of the other two pistons. Not only that, but the nasty high-pitched secondary vibration of inline fours that makes fingers and toes go numb is also absent. The only complication is a rocking vibration, which the rider doesn't really feel, but the crank bearings definitely do, which requires a balancer shaft, almost none of which crosses your mind as you slip the XSR into lovely gearbox and feed out the lightweight clutch. The Abarth pulls forward with deceptive pace. This bike is an X-launch machine and is on German plates with a kph speedo. Unlike the XSR900, which can slip between metric and imperial a bit too easily with a long button push, the Abarth can't. Either way, 180 km/h flashes up in dramatically short order as the triple decimates distance in a blur of short shifts, engine shimmering as it pummels out torque in a tidal wave made of angel delight. Head tight behind the bubble, the extreme riding position makes more sense as wind lifts your torso and takes the weight off your wrists, and you get the feeling you look totally cool doing it. But there are a couple of problems with all the Cafe Racer cool. The first is the Abarth's throttle response. Even in the mildest of three modes, it's tricky to pick up the engine from nothing and dial in the right amount of throttle, and especially so when tramping on a bit. A second of a degree too much or too little throttle turns a smooth flow through a set of bends into a stop and start novice show. The hassle is exaggerated by the Abarth's dropped bars with wrists at such a severe angle. It's hard to fully finesse the grip position. It's hard to finesse the powerful front brake. The second problem is chassis confidence. The Yam isn't the most stable of machines as it charges through its gears. A tendency to shimmy into a high-frequency weave becomes more and more apparent. At post-legal speeds on crap roads, it's enough to make you back off, which sounds obvious, but it's something I rarely have to do on any bike. The Abarth sensitive steering also shows up at lower speeds when it hits a bump. Doesn't have to be big to deflect the steering, it's called bump steer. Smooth mid-speed roads are no problem. They're exactly the kind of tarmac the Abarth excels on, as it did on its launch in Sardinia a few months ago. But good old post-Brexit British bumps are a different story. And with identical suspension to the XSR, the only difference is the change in the Abarth's weight balance caused by the rider sitting so far forward. You can feel it as soon as you pull away. The bars take almost no effort to turn. It's great for flicking deftly across town on an XSR900 with flat bars giving lots of control. But change the Abarth's balance by putting more weight over the front, and it can feel constantly on the verge of kicking off.